This is a while back, sitting in the dugout after a long game, a stressful game. A lot had happened in that game, and I just couldn't go home. I couldn't see myself leaving the yard without mentally and physically thinking about all the plays that had happened in that game, all the mistakes, all the good things. And again, it was just a tough game in the ninth inning. You know, it's a 1-0 game. It was already a tough game. We felt like we were in control. The leadoff guy had got on, so there was a runner on first, no outs, up one, and coaches put the players in a good spot to succeed. We had it set up. A ground ball had been hit to our shortstop. Shortstop goes to field a routine ground ball. Ball hits off the heel. And goes into the outfield. So now it's a first and third situation, and you can just tell that the shortstop was devastated, and everybody around him, giving him the confidence that we're still a couple pitches away from winning the game. And it was just a bad inning, I guess you would say, and we're one hit away from losing the game. A double would then score both runs, and we would end up losing the game. And sure enough, that's what ended up happening. After you see that runner cross on the plate, the only thing I could think about, outside of being devastated that we just lost the game in the last inning, a really good game, I wanted to go up to the shortstop and just let him know it was okay. That this type of stuff happens. It's not the end of the world. But no matter what I would have said to him at that point, he wouldn't have listened or he wouldn't have heard me right because of what had happened. It was hard for me and him because it was his last game or last big game. It was his senior year. He was done after that point. I can only imagine how he felt, and mentally he's going to think about that the rest of his life. Sitting in the dugout after a tough loss, the way we lost, I didn't even end up talking to the shortstop because of how hard it was and how tough he was taking it. Just sitting there thinking, what can I do to help players get through these type of moments, these type of plays? There was just an angle that in his hand that he needed to get to allow him to overcome what had happened. Go home that night, laying in bed, couldn't sleep. Like I said, it was a tough loss. I wanted to help players get through these moments and the butterflies that had happened in that time. I think every player on the field was nervous at that point, and the only way to overcome that is getting the perfect angle, the perfect reps to allow you to get over those nerves mentally. So I think as you get older, you're never going to get rid of the butterflies in big moments. You're always going to have that. But it's putting yourself in the right spot, in the right angle with your glove hand on a play like that. Unfortunately, we won't be able to help that player any further. But for the players that are coming up and any players that are looking to move on from now, I want to be able to help them with the angle in their hand on ground balls. Laying in bed that night, tossing and turning, trying to just imagine what I can have or what I can make or build to help players in the future. And at that point, something clicked that there was no defensive training product out on the market. I enjoy defense, and there's a technique in the glove hand that all defensive players need to get to when you're fielding ground balls. So I went ahead and started working on a product to make players get in the perfect glove position. That's all I wanted to do was help players get more consistent with their glove hand, and I know that it would help them in the future to become more consistent. Yeah, as a player, I grew up in a baseball family. I always wanted to be the best player on the field. that's why we play the sport. I was super athletic, which allowed me to play infield. I was going into my high school, which is Bishop Gorman, one of the top baseball programs in the country. It was very hard to get into and be able to play there. At that point, I was pretty athletic. I enjoyed infield. I was able to play any infield spot. And then from that point, I went to a couple different junior colleges and, was the shortstop at each junior college. And a cool story from that is my sophomore year college, one of the other players on my team had asked me, how did you get so good at infield? And started asking the coach what he should do fundamentally or with his technique. The head coach of that program then looked at the player and said, I don't know, you need to ask our shortstop. He's our infield coach. That's the type of attitude I had. I wanted to be the best. I knew I was good at it. So, the confidence just kept getting higher and higher as a player. And then I moved on to a university. I finished out there and then went right into my coaching career. As a coach in the Las Vegas area, I've been really fortunate to be around some of the biggest names in the game. They've all had their own personality. They're all really good at baseball, and the Las Vegas area has allowed them to do so because of the weather. But some of the Bryce Harpers of the MLB, the big game, Joey Gallo, Nick Kingham, DJ Peters, the Jake Hagers, it's Taylor Smart, who's now coaching at University of Arkansas. It's been really fun to be around a big group like that and those type of players. They're no different than everybody else. They just actually outwork everybody else at a high level. It was tough spots, sitting there just contemplating, is something like this making a product really going to work? I've always been a baseball player and I've always been a coach, and now getting into the business side, I just never saw myself as a business person at that point. So I was always second guessing, is this going to work, and what all went into making a product and turning it into a business, as far as the materials that's going to go with the product, the patents that you're going to have to deal with, what all goes into that, how long does it take, and getting a website so that the public can go and purchase your product. And then again, it's, do I continue my coaching career? Do I stay in college and coach and move on that way? But so I was going back and forth in those two things and trying to figure out what was going to work and what way I was going to go. And fortunately, I had the Libke Pro, and I had to get tags for the product. I had to get the material. I had to get it manufactured, the patents, all the trademarks. And so I went ahead and just did it. I went for it. I stopped my coaching career and started to just slowly focus on the business and the product to get it out there and make players better. First time being in the market was the ABCA. It's a big baseball convention, trade show. It was actually in Anaheim, which is not too far from my hometown, Las Vegas, and super nervous going into it. We had a 10x10 booth, and it was going to be the first time being in front of people with the product. And at that point, we only had one size, and it was a one-size-fit-all. Going into it, there were 6,500 coaches walking around there. Some of the biggest names, the Augie Garridos, the old coach, Hall of Fame coach, Joe Madden for the Cubs. There's coaches like that at this type of trade show, and I'd never been to it, especially not as a vendor or as a business, and it was a little overwhelming at first when you get there and you start seeing all these people walking around, coming up to your booth and asking all these type of questions. But with the Libke Pro, it was it was so easy to have them just strap it on and get the feel for it right away. As soon as they would put it on, it puts them in the perfect glove position to field ground balls, whether you were forehanded or backhanded. And what was really cool about it is our first sale ever was to a guy that was an All-American at Oklahoma State, who now plays, in the minor leagues. He put it on, and his dad had bought it right at that point. He's a coach at Oklahoma State as well. But yeah, it was fun. It was overwhelming. Hitting the road was, tough when you're married and have a daughter, and so it's tough to always go on the road. But then again, it's always fun because you're getting to be in front of new coaches, new players, new people, and the rest is history. To get the phone call from the MLB winter meetings to have Libke Pro attend, it's amazing. That's the highest level. That's the biggest platform, and to know that they understand and know what the Libke Pro is all about, and they want you to come to their event for all their type of guys to see what's around in the market and what's going to help the players and the coaches. That's pretty special. I never got a chance to play in the MLB, but if I can get my product with those type of people and at that level, that's something special for me and for the company. And being there, it was awesome because of all the coaches that we got to meet, from that level, and all the players, the infield coordinators. We did really well when it came to the coaches coming to our booth and the players and them trying the product on and just seeing their interactions. I mean, we got to talk to quite a few of the GMs. A lot of the infield coordinators, a few of the coaches. It was pretty special for me to be able to interact and say that I've interacted and talked to those type of people, and not only that, they're buying my product. That's pretty cool. The MLB teams that we have now, we're up to 17 of the MLB organizations that are using the Libke Pro within them. Some of the big ones, the Anaheim Angels, they're one, the Texas Rangers, Pittsburgh Pirates, the Atlanta Braves, Washington Nationals. Those are some of the bigger, organizations that come off the top of my head that have them. We got 3 different sizes. This is the Libke Pro Fielder, our adult size for 15 years and up. We had the pleasure of working with Alex Bregman and customizing 10 of those for his organization. Really cool experience. And then we also got the Libke Pro Junior now that's on the market, and it's a couple inches off on the width and the length for ages 5 to 10. And then we also got the Libke Pro Youth, or the Libke Pro Softball Fielder is the brown one, which is for all ages of softball. It can go down to 5-year-olds and all the way up to, our professional softball girls that we have. So we've had quite a few questions about how to put the Libke Pro on and the different ways it's able to use it. This is a Libke Pro Junior. I'm going to show for the example. The elastic strap that's on the very end, you can go 2 or 3 fingers through it. We always recommend putting the 2 middle fingers through it. This is how you would do it with bare hand. Then you fold that over, strap the Velcro around, just like you were to play catch with it, field a ground ball. That's for all your bare hand drills. Racquetball, tennis ball, lacrosse balls are being used with it. Forehand, backhand, you can do anything you normally do with your bare hand with the Libke Pro on. We also have players that would sleep with it to get the muscle memory to take over. That's totally up to you. Now, to put it on the glove, the strap with the logo is Velcro. This strap you're going to throw right through the wrist part of the glove and then fold it right over. Then we recommend to put your hand in. Again, that elastic strap that you use for bare hand it's totally up to you on the feel. we recommend, if you stick a finger out, to put one finger through that elastic strap. But again, a lot of the problems with the glove angle is going to be players are putting their hand too far in the glove. You know, if the player likes to put his whole hand in there, it's going to allow them to want to be too flat, where it hits the heel a lot and then obviously hits their face or goes behind them. So we recommend to barely put your hand in the glove. You should see a lot of your palm, which is going to make you, more smoother or softer. And then you're going to strap that elastic Velcro strap. We recommend that you strap it pretty tight to start, so that you get used to the angle that it's creating. As they get better, you can loosen that strap to see, the player's improvement. If you give them a little bit of slack, it'll allow them, if they still want to flip or get too flat, you'll see it right away. And then you can just leave it unstrapped. If you feel the leather hit your skin, you're in the right spot. Nowadays we have, players playing catch with them, doing double plays, full-on field and ground balls, doing all the drill work they normally do. Outfielders catching routine fly balls with it, catchers doing receiving stuff with it, catch and throw stuff. We actually have pitchers using it on their on their throwing hand for off-speed pitches. So when you go to throw a curveball, you want your hand on top of the, on top of the ball to keep that form, or as if like you were throwing a changeup. A lot of players want to snap and get this, run on their changeup. Well, the Libke Pro is going to force you to stay behind the changeup, keeping that same arm speed, but allowing the speed to be taken off. Thanks for watching this video. Jeremy Libke with Libke Pro. We'll see you on the field.